This is the Entrepreneur Unleashed Show, episode 73 with James Hodges. Hi, I'm Patty Keating, and I believe entrepreneurs are the future of the world. Over the past 2 decades, I've built 4 businesses in alignment with my values, giving me the freedom to live where I want and do what I love. I'm here to tell you that creating your successful business does not require struggle or sacrifice. So, how do you create the lifestyle business you love doing only what you love? Welcome to the Entrepreneur Unleashed podcast. I'm super excited to bring you James Hodges today. He's the CEO and co-founder of Next Level Coaches. Welcome, James.
Thanks, Patty, for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's so good to have you here. I can't wait to hear all about your story and how this business of yours has unfolded. Why don't you go ahead and do a little bit more of an introduction than I did and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. Hey guys, James Hodges, grew up in New Zealand, studied abroad here in the US at UC Berkeley when I was 19. That was back in 2008. Ended up applying for the green card lottery. I won the green card lottery, so I ended up going to London for a little bit, and I moved here in about 2011. I started off in the event space and helped grow a company in New York from about 1.5 million to about 5 million in a few years. Then I moved to a tech-based startup and helped grow them from 2 million to 28 million users in about 3.5 years. And then we launched Empowered and Next Level Coaches about 3.5 years ago. Last year we did about 1.4 million in revenue, and we have about 5,800 mission-driven heart-centered coaches in our community around the world. So that's
nice. What inspired you to start Next Level Coaches?
So a few things. So one, I just have a real passion for the work, for coaching, personal development. I've been at it since I was 16. And so I went to a whole variety of workshops and just did a lot of work on myself. And what I realized is all of this transformational work is so amazing. But the majority of people who are actually marketing and selling themselves really don't do a very good job. And so we also realized there wasn't a lot of good software that was out there to help serve coaches and support coaches. So our original intention for our company was to actually build software to help coaches. Mm-hmm. And that's what we got into, build software to help coaches grow their business. But you'll hear the story a little bit later, but we shortly pivoted after from software into more of a community and more of a mastermind model to serve our clients and help them produce results.
Awesome. So what kind of obstacles did you bump into when you launched your business?
Yeah, so I was working 50, 60 hours a week at a tech startup that was just growing like crazy, and I was helping to drive a lot of the growth. Mm-hmm. So time was for sure one of the obstacles. I also chose to do it with a business partner, and business partnerships are amazing, but also it's like a marriage, so there's pros and cons to it. So just navigating other personalities, and we both had other gigs going on. My co-founder started Chakra School, which has over 100,000 paying students. So we both had a lot of other things going on. And so really just ensuring we're on the same wavelength and balancing the time were the 2 biggest challenges initially.
Yeah.
And then all the things were like customer demand, bringing in revenue initially, serving clients, given limited time. Those are definitely some of the challenges initially.
How did you handle the time challenge?
Yeah, so I was working with a mastermind group to basically get clear on what did it look like to transition from part-time to full-time, mm-hmm. and how much time did I actually have to dedicate, what was my window going to be when I was going to leave, and how much risk was I willing to take around that. Mm-hmm. And so we basically set about a 14 month deadline. We actually set the Cinco de Mayo of 2018, so 5th of March 2018. Back in the start of 2017 when we originally launched our company. Mm-hmm. And we just kind of mapped out like some weeks it's only going to, some weeks I was like traveling around the country, so I could only probably put in a couple of hours and my co-founder would do a bit. Other weeks I could put in 10, 15, 20 hours a week, and then vacation and holidays, then I would just crank on the business. So I just made the commitment to just focus really heavily on creating this amazing company
Mm-hmm.
outside of this other amazing company I was a part of, and just do it both and figure it out over about 14 months. And yeah, that's exactly how long it needed to take.
So what would you say the lesson is that you learned in that?
So that, I mean, there's a lot of lessons. So one is like finding the right guidance and the right people to help support, get clear on it.
Yeah.
Because I had no idea how long it would take.
Mm-hmm.
2, patience. 3, just setting really clear boundaries. And then 4, just being super clear on what I wanted to create,
Mm-hmm.
and being so committed to it. Being willing to just make that such a key priority,
Yeah.
regardless of whatever else came up.
Just do it.
Just do it and commit to it, and don't let any other excuses or other things get in the way.
That's a huge lesson. It might sound, yeah, here's what I did, but it's one of the major obstacles that slows down and stops entrepreneurs in my experience of coaching them.
Totally.
Just trying to figure it out, overthinking, like trying to get ready, all the things, is just do it. I love that so much. So what are you passionate about right now?
Yeah, so I'm doing this men's program called The Pillar. So that's really interesting. It's just going really deep into the embodied masculine in 2020, really stepping into what leadership looks like in the current environment and in this new economy, and how to really be a heart-centered masculine leader who still really holds the pillar and holds the frame, both for my business, both for our community, as well as my relationship. That's really something I'm really passionate about. And then on more of the business side, I'm like really geeking out on a lot of funnel stuff right now, just ads and funnels and data. And
you like that stuff?
Yeah, it's awesome.
What's your vision for your business over the next, I don't know, half decade?
Yeah, so our vision by 2030 is to empower 10 million leaders around the world to solve the world's greatest problems.
Nice.
So yeah, we're really in the business of building leaders. Yeah. And the second part of that is the right strategy to help grow and scale their impact.
Awesome. Okay, let's talk about your own growth. What's the best advice you ever received?
Surrender.
Also, what personal development have you experienced as a result of all of this?
So I started when I was 16, my personal development journey.
Yeah.
So I asked this girl, so I grew up in New Zealand. I asked this girl to prom or to ball. And much to my surprise and pretty much everyone else at school, she said yes. But behind my back, pretty much all my friends and everyone was laughing. They were like, Tanya's only going to the ball with James because she feels sorry for him. And back then I was just like this really, really nerdy kid. But it was also the greatest thing that ever happened to me because my friend ended up giving me this book. The book was called Double Your Dating by David D'Angelo. And it started talking about how do you actually attract women. And for me, who was someone who was like very nerdy, very like logical and all these things, it just like blew my mind at the way women think and, just like all these things. I was like, wow, what is going on? And it was like, boom. And it also talked about like Napoleon Hill, Oprah Winfrey, like, all these amazing humans, Tony Robbins. And so that's when I got into personal development. And so it started with me not feeling worthy, not feeling good enough, and not understanding women at all. Yeah. And then going down that journey. And then especially as I've stepped into this full time, and had a team, we've got 100 or so clients. We've got 5,800 people in our community.
Yeah.
I've lived in 2 entrepreneur houses, one in San Diego, one in Boulder, Colorado now. Yeah. And just being in an environment with 7 other entrepreneurs. And my girlfriend's an entrepreneur and a tantra coach, and so she's just like, oh, I'm just like always on it. Like, you're just always in it, It's
immersion.
Yeah, it's full on immersion. And yeah, so there's just been so much growth that's happened on that. But I would say the most growth, crazy enough, has been the last 2 years. Like since I've like really stepped into it, it's like the bigger you get, the more your shit gets magnified, right?
Exactly.
But also the good gets magnified too. So it's
we grow in full quantums. It's like, oh, here I am with all this.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I had all of that come out and just like seeing what was the deeper underlying story I was telling myself and how is stuff that was happening in my team, how was I creating that and how was I sourcing that? And then the doubts my girlfriend's having in the relationship, how am I sourcing that? You know, it's like all the things, and it's just never ending journey.
It is. Okay, let's talk about some tools and resources for people. What kind of gadgets or tools do you use to make your life easier?
Yeah, I keep everything really simple. Like I try to reduce as much, like simplify to multiply is just a really big thing for me. So obviously smartphone. I have a gimbal that I keep in, like I have a backpack, keep my gimbal in there. So we may be hiking and then being out in nature and then maybe a beautiful view. And then I'll be like, and I'll have my AirPods and I'll tell my girlfriend to like, she'll shoot video and then we'll just create like a really quick video in a beautiful location.
Yeah.
So there's some tools, productivity planner.
Yeah.
Really good one. Just to keep things simple and to like really get clear on like what are the 1 to 3 things that I want to do for the day and just reduce all the other noise and just stay clear. Good shakes, just constantly having good shakes around. Like I just make a big batch and just have 2 of those a day, plus a good lunch and a good dinner, and that seems to be it. So yeah, I'd say that's probably some of the core tools that I use. I've got a ton of Chrome extensions for lots of mini hacks, but yeah, those are like the core ones that are around me quite frequently.
That's awesome. What about resources like, what are you reading, listening to? Blogs, podcasts, books, Audible?
Yeah, it's funny. I've got all my stuff here. The Road Less Stupid is what I'm currently reading by Keith Cunningham.
Nice.
It's a really good book. The key theme there is really allowing more time to think. So many of us are constantly in the hustle and just like boom, 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 boom. And especially as we've grown a 7-figure company, now for me, it's much less about just like, what can I do? It's more like, how can I think about the greater ecosystem and how can I it's like a game of chess. Like how can I maneuver the pieces now?
Yeah.
Think intelligently to move the right pieces at the right time. And in the past when I was starting, it was always just like me, go, me create. And you get to the point, once you get to about 6 figures, then you need to start thinking about like outside of yourself. And it's like, it's complete reinvention. Yeah.
It is. Multiple times.
Exactly. Always, constantly.
Like every level, like, okay, wait, here we are. Now what are we doing? Who am I? What's my role?
Yeah. New level, new devil.
Yeah, that's it. So, okay, looking back, if you were to do this all over again, what would you tell your younger self?
So it's always an interesting question because I feel like, one, I would do it exactly how it happened, but if I was to like restart from today, how would I do it differently? I think I would sharpen the axe a lot more. So I think Benjamin Franklin said if he had 5 with Benjamin Franklin or Thomas Edison, it was Abraham Lincoln, I think it was. So he basically said if I had 5 hours to chop down a tree, I would spend the first 4 hours sharpening the axe.
Right.
And so I would just get, I'm really good at taking action really quickly, or I was. And now just spending a lot more time up front to get clear on like, what is it that I want to create? And just like really thinking through the key pieces first and being as intelligent as possible and then saying, okay, what is the 80-20? What's the simplest and easiest path? And how does this be easy? Like I used to just like hustle, like bang my head against the wall. And I wasn't in either full alignment internally, or I hadn't thought about all the resources or things I could use in my place. It was always just like me and my time to produce result, as opposed to, is there a simpler and easier path for me to produce the result? And how do I get into full alignment so this is actually easy for me to produce the result?
What would you say your biggest passion is right now?
It's a good question. Just continuing to go down the rabbit hole, I feel it's just like, I just live and breathe the work, like I live in this container. It's 24/7. Like I wake up next to my girlfriend and like, we're in the work. Like I'm on Zoom a lot and I'm like in the work and meeting people. I'm like having house dinner, going hiking, and it's fun. It's amazing. I love it. It's like learning how to embrace it in a way that's like really passionate and really fun, and learning to uncover like what are the different layers within yourself.
Yeah. What's your big vision
for the world? So I guess my mission statement is to empower myself, millions of others on the planet through holistic wellness. And so just having been blessed, learning these tools at such a young age and being able to create, amazing income, impact, and freedom. It's like, I want more people to not only have access to that, but truly have a holistic wellness, which means like fun and friendships and amazing relationships, but also just being really healthy and the quantum, right? The physical, the spiritual, the mental, and the emotional. So allowing more people to have access to that and realizing that the status quo, whatever they think their life has to be like, or see others has to be like, it doesn't have to be like that. Like you can truly create this life in a way that's in alignment with you and like in full abundance with you.
Oh, that's so awesome. Thank you so much for sharing everything. I really appreciate it.
Of course. Yeah, totally. Happy to be a resource and to be here and to support all of your viewers.
Awesome. Hello and welcome. I'm recording this episode from my home office during self-quarantine as we were all asked to stay home due to the coronavirus. If you like what you hear and you'd like to hear more, please join me in my Facebook group. It's called The Unleashed Entrepreneurs. You can search that on Facebook. Come on over. It's a community of thriving entrepreneurs making a difference in the world, doing what they love, and changing lives. Hope to see you there. Enjoy the show. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Have you ever wondered what you could do to make your own business and grow it online? Head on over to pattykeating.com and take the entrepreneur code. You'll discover your unique value, your personality style, and how you can combine those two into a thriving business that helps people and lets you make money doing what you love. I'll see you there. Bye for now.